And now, stand and cheer for your Talking Basketball podcast.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Talking Basketball podcast. I am Mark.
I am back. Like
You are
Jordan.
back. Like Jordan.
2 words, I'm back.
Oh, really? You want to go that way?
I'm half back. I'm half back.
Do you wanna- do
you
you
can
wanna-
tell I can't talk 100%.
Wow, that was
Volume.
wasn't your speciality in the first place. But,
Our listeners would disagree with that statement,
mate,
Mark.
I'm happy you're back. I am very happy.
Cheers,
you're back.
Mush.
Obviously, big shout out to Keith and Elliot for stepping in and helping us over the last couple of weeks. That was obviously massively helpful and hopefully quite enjoyable for you all to hear different people talking, and I'm sure we'll get them on again in the future. But, it's nice to have you back, buddy,
Well, I'm back for a moment.
for a moment.
So when you putting this episode out?
Tomorrow.
Okay, so tomorrow. So Wednesday this week is when I go and start to get all things done to my teeth and all that crap, and then I've got to wear some.
Gender reassignment.
No, nothing like that. And then I've got to wear something in my
Hormone
mouth
therapy.
for a week, which is really annoying. So on Wednesday, I won't be able to talk for a week, and then I should be on the other side of this, hopefully.
Well, that'd be good.
Yeah, and then the rest of it is just
And what about food?
aesthetics.
So next week it'll be back on full on liquid, but then will it be more chance for food after that, do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I can break things up really small and eat them now, which is nice, rather than soup.
Are you still longing for that Burger King?
You know what? I had a burger yesterday on Sunday down old Portsmouth.
Did you?
Yeah, I had to cut it up. I was well posh. I was cutting up my burger. I had to cut it really small, and then I had to take the top of the burger off and just because it has to be really small bits for me to eat it.
Well, yeah, because you got to get it at the back of your teeth, haven't you?
But
Was it
yeah.
everything you dreamed it was for a burger?
yeah, it was a nice burger. It was a bloody nice burger. But yeah.
Well,
I'm back. Talk about random crap. That should be the name of the episode. Paul's back, random crap.
Nice to have you back, bro.
Yeah, well, I'm back this week, and then I'm out next week, and then I should be back,
We'll get you.
and hopefully my voice,
We'll
once
get you
these
talking
bloody
next week.
braces come off that I have to wear, then I should be able to talk a bit louder and do the "Hey, now stand and shit" with a bit more volume. I need to be there before we get Steve Nelson back on.
We'll do that for sure. Anyone who's
He deserves
anyone
a
important.
big shout.
Yeah, it's got. We got to do it properly. But yeah, for sure. If not, we could just go up to random people in the street, just give them a little bit of paper and say, "Can you just say, welcome to Talking Basketball podcast," and get loads of people to say it randomly, and then we'll just do that as intro. Or if you're listening to this and you've got an idea for an intro to do next week, well, balls. I mean, we could do it as a competition. I don't know idea, but send us to ukbasketballpodcast@gmail.com or send it to our Instagram, Talking Basketball Podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, send us ideas. We could do something in the week that you're
What are they sending ideas for? You've lost me. You started talking.
an intro instead of going and now stand and cheer because no one else does that. You do that, so we could do something different.
Okay.
Could you please mute all telephones?
I know. I was turning into Andy Rowlands there, wasn't I?
Oh.
Ding, ding.
Yeah, that was like a
He's a-
hotel reception bell.
He's a
wasn't it?
busy man, he is. Right, what are we talking about? We're talking about the amazing All-Star game display. Is that what we're talking about?
No, Keith and I
I did hear you guys talk about this.
put that one to bed.
It was a bit boring,
Do you know
wasn't it? They matched the NBA for its it's like a scrimmage game, isn't it? It's just like a laugh.
Well, shout out to the ladies on More Than Ball show because
They were great. They were up for it.
Yeah,
They were up for it.
Well, they were all talking about the WBBL, the ladies' game, and that was. I think what they've got to think of is if someone new is looking at that game for the first time, you want to excite someone. That's why you want an atmosphere. That's why you want something there. And you look at that game, and everyone was competitive, and they were going for it. They were playing proper D.
I think they're playing for something more than an All-Star game as well.
Exactly.
They're playing for, we're a serious league. We're a serious sport.
Exactly.
That's how it felt like to me watching it.
And it was. And then when you watched the rest of the junk, it was like,
Wow.
But it was utter. And do you know what? The more I talked about it with Keith off air. I said to him, like, I'm glad I talked to you off air before we were doing stuff. Because I was getting really angry.
It was just exhibition, wasn't it?
Do you know what?
Which no one's interested in.
I'm gonna put it out.
What was it 143 shot or something like that, wasn't it?
It was 120 something threes that were thrown up, and not even 35 went in. And when you look at that and you go, you're all supposed to be representing your own clubs, not only your own brand or whoever you are, but your own clubs and all your fans and all the fans of the BBL as a whole. And people in basketball, not just in the UK now, because apparently it's going all over the place. You are supposed to be the best of the best, and you look like a bunch of mugs who were playing, honestly.
Wow.
Because they were so entitled.
You're going to make me show you my braces by laughing.
I don't get. They were just trying to. They were so entitled, and you go, guys, I'm not funny. You're not on like 40 million a year contracts in the NBA. You're not in the EuroLeague. You're not in the Spanish league. Look where you are. Look who the people who have paid money to see you. Look at all the kids in the crowd. Oh, sorry, there wasn't that big a crowd anyway. But we'll get to that.
Wow, you're not holding back.
Oh, no, why would I? I think they absolutely ruined that.
It did match, for me, the NBA All-Star game is in. It's just an exhibition.
How can you watch it? How can you watch that NBA one, which was terrible, take that and go, could we do anything worse than this?
I did wonder, could the fans not be at fault, but we all voted in our favourite players, who we think the best players are. Yep. Maybe we should have, as supporters of the BBL, voted for the players who were going to put up the biggest fight in the game. I did think that, because you know what I mean by that?
Now, there were some players that I called out I thought did really well. Kimball McKenzie, Taj Green, they were going for it. They were going up for jams. They were doing some great moves, and no one else was.
There is another part of this where these players don't want to get injured. You're about to go into the playoffs, and that is more important than an All-Star game. So I can appreciate that, but in the same breath,
don't put it then.
Don't have an All-Star game then.
Don't put the All-Star game before you do the trophy. If you're going to do it that way,
or make it like no, but still everyone's going to want to. Wherever you put it, no one's going to want to get injured.
Who's the All-Star game for?
I suppose everyone's a neutral fan for that, aren't they? Everyone's watching it.
Everyone should be watching it. But let's just take a big helicopter view. If you're the league, that's your thing, slice.
It's your brand, isn't it? This is our brand.
This is how good the BBL is. If they watch the WBBL, they'll be like, all right, they're serious. And we've seen WBBL teams in Europe, and they're doing fantastically well.
I did see the end of the London Lions, or is it London Lionesses? What are they called? Is it still London Lions?
I still want to say Lions, but
I saw the end of that where they had that European game, and it really kicked off towards the end. That was good. That was good to see.
Yeah. So you're seeing that, and you go, "What a great advert! I'd buy into that." Then you watch the men's game, and you go, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'm not interested in buying into that."
What you're saying, you want them to play like they're playing in the season in the All-Star game. Bit like the 90s in the NBA. That's what we want to see.
It's exactly the same as that. Everyone, it's the same thing. But the bit I don't get, and it's the bit that's so confusing, is everyone who's an NBA fan saw what happened in the All-Star game, and across the board, everyone criticised it. It's like they're not even playing. Even the commentators were saying they're not playing defense. Like it's just a joke.
It's embarrassing, isn't it?
Exactly. Fast forward a few weeks, and apparently the Women's League looked at that and went, yeah, we don't want to do that. We want to showcase ourselves. The men, they just didn't get the memo. They thought, nah, don't worry about it.
I heard someone say, give them more money. I don't like that because I'm like,
no.
Why does it have to be, you got to pay them for them to perform?
There's this thing called pride. There's a thing called a jersey that you're playing for.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You got your fans. You're a player. Guess what? You're an asset, and you're replaceable.
But I think they don't want to get injured. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. All right.
Imagine you get injured and go, right, we now lose the league or we now lose the playoffs because of that. So I kind of can appreciate that perspective. So in the same breath, it's like,
okay, so should we just stop any of the games now then? Because almost everyone has qualified in the season.
Well, Leicester is still up for it. I saw those games.
Yeah, but
they're really, really well. From what all the highlights you just showed me.
Well, only one of the. I mean, obviously, Paul's been ill. I've actually been ill with some Gross.
Is that because of your gender reassignment medicine you're taking?
Yeah, it's kicking in. But I'll be one of those people who says, my name's Louisa.
Hi, Louisa.
Right. But if you think, I think Bristol are the last team at the moment who have to win, I think, one more game, or they have to play 2 more games.
Oh, no, they're in. Come on, look.
They're in?
Look,
No,
Manchester got 7 wins. They're going to have to turn that trade. They're going to have to win all the rest of their remaining games, and Bristol are going to have to lose their rest. That's not happening.
No. But what they actually physically have to do is they have to play 2 more games because they've only played 29 games at the moment, so they have to play.
Still, they've only won 7 games this season.
They can't catch them.
They're not going to almost double that with 6 games remaining.
It's to officially qualify, but more importantly, look who's only 1 win above them. Surrey.
Yeah.
So what's interesting, they've got 2 more games really to qualify. So Bristol at the moment are in 8th position. I would never have thought they'd have been there at the beginning of the season.
What I love to see is Newcastle, Leicester and Sheffield.
Yeah.
That is huge because they are all vying for that 4th spot.
Yep.
I guess. And that's going to
then you got
be significant in, your playoff spot.
Caledonia and Cheshire Phoenix are only one win apart, and yet Cheshire have actually got 2 wins in hand, 2 games in hand. So Cheshire are really in the driving seat for that.
Even Bristol, Surrey, they got to play for it to see who ends up facing London first round.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's like Bristol are in, but there's a chance that they could jump up to maybe here or here. They could even get up this sort of way. If Sheffield suddenly stall, they could drop. It's like this little part of the league is going to be really quite interesting into the back end of the playoffs.
So what is it? A couple of weeks, isn't it? 3 weeks?
Yeah, it's about 3 weeks. I think it's April the 21st is the last games of the season.
Okay.
But it's been an all right few games this week. There's 6 games played.
Well, we can't talk about those games first.
Why not?
Because there's one game that's got to be spoken about before all those games.
Go for it. Are you giving us a horn?
I will give you a horn. Where's the horn? That one.
Same place it's always been.
We got to talk about Solent Kestrels at home to the Milton Keynes Breakers. Now that was on Saturday, and this is the NBL Div 2 South.
Yes.
And what a finish to the local, to the normal standing league. So for the listeners who don't know this, so you've got the BBL. Under the BBL, you've got NBL Div 1, NBL Div 2, NBL Div 3. NBL Div 2 is where the Solent Kestrels, there are like rival team, but a lot of Portsmouth players, Southampton players have always kind of mixed and matched. So there's quite a nice little harmony between the 2 teams, but we'd rather Portsmouth win.
Yep.
And the Kestrels had not lost they had not lost a game all season. When they played Milton Keynes Breakers away, they won by 7 points. Okay. Breakers did not lose any game other than that game to the Kestrels. The last game of the season, Milton Keynes are at Solent for the last game of the season. If Breakers won by 8 or more, they win the league. If Solent Kestrels win, they won the league. They could actually lose by 7 or less and then still win the league. So it was a great game. And I've got to say, that is arguably one of the best games I've seen this season.
It was exciting. Definitely exciting.
I can't remember. What's the... who are the guys who do the actual online visual for the game?
It's
Sonar or Solar, something like that.
It's to do with the university.
Look it up whilst I'm talking, because you got to give them a huge shout for their coverage. Their coverage is absolutely great. They've done the Portsmouth Fury again earlier in the season when we were in the final, and I thought it was pretty good then. But it's great to watch, and I just absolutely gutted because I saw this fixture coming a few months back, and I said, Mark, this is going down to the wire. That is going to be an absolute nail-biting, amazing end to the season for National League Div 2. And so we were planning to go and do a live podcast down there.
Yep.
And then, unfortunately, I got my teeth knocked out and Mark gets the flu. So it kind of didn't work out too great. But I did watch this online. And what a game. Let me just show you some of these stats. So don't forget, Kestrels can lose by 7 and they still win the league. At the end of the first quarter, they were up by 13.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They were up by 13. And you got to talk about Elliot Dad's captain. He was absolutely outstanding. You know what? I'm trying to think, did he sub out? I can't recall if he did sub out or not. I think he might have played the whole game. I could be wrong on that. But he was like the absolute general of that team. They've got another guy called Isa Brandon. He was exceptional as well. I think he's an American. I think he was the one who was almost going to play for Portsmouth Force at one point, and he chose to go down the road and play for Southampton. But he played an absolute great game. Unfortunately, he got fouled out. I think it was early in the fourth quarter or halfway through the fourth quarter. And yeah, you know, he ended up with 26 points. Elliot Dads ended up with 21 points. There are a couple of players I just got to mention. There's a guy called Russell Garapi for Kestrels. I really like him. He is just a hard-working player. And I just wanted to mention his name because he just seemed to me to be quite... What is that?
It's the Sonar Events. It's the people who did the
okay. Yeah. And Sonar Events.
Yeah, it's part of Southampton Solent's student TV live events.
Well, they're doing a great job.
Yeah, so it's all run by the students, and that's, I guess, their events sort of set up.
Yeah,
but they do various things. Yeah, but
I think they're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
So yeah, Russell Garapi, he was, you know, just a great injection for the Kestrels. And then there was another guy called Ashley Briggs. He banged some big threes in. And there was another guy called Matt Hughes. I think Matt Hughes was, I think he's quite a young guy. He hit some huge threes right at the end. Yeah, I mean, I was texting Mark what was going on throughout the game. But you got to talk about the Milton Keynes Breakers is Jordan Spencer and Blaine Freckleton in particular. I mean, they had lots of players contributing, but those two guys in particular, Blaine Freckleton in particular was pivotal, I think, in getting Isa Brandon fouled out the game.
Oh yeah, that made a big difference.
And it was... He was great at, he went to fake a jump, someone flies in, bam, he's getting the contact. He was just such a strong player, such a clever player. But he looked like he was having a laugh with it all the time. Like, he'd get a foul and he was like, there's another one to him. And
they play as a great team, didn't they?
Not at the start. Like, at the start, they were down, but I want to say they were down by 15 at one point. Cool. You know, before I go on about the Breakers, I've got one negative thing to say about the Kestrels.
Just messaging. I didn't see the first pics. You were messaging me going, it's on now.
But on the Kestrels website, they haven't mentioned a single Milton Keynes player. And I don't know how you can write a match report without mentioning...
That's a little bitter, isn't it?
Well, I don't know if it's just not a great match report to say someone scored 36 points on the other team. We're not going to mention it, but I think it was 36 points. But anyway, you know, don't forget these guys won the BBL trophy.
Yes.
And they beat teams like Derby Trailblazers, who are in top of Div 1 at the moment.
Yep.
And they did have a few players absent when the Kestrels beat them, which was really vital. So when this was coming together, it was like, wow, this is going to be a great game. And you know what? It was a great game. And I was talking to you, so I was texting you, and I hope you're watching this. Kestrels are up by 15.
Yeah, I won't repeat exactly what you were typing. It was really interesting though, because all of those players had a piece to play in that game. That even if you thought, oh, he only got a few points, he only did a few bits, he was a bit more of an agitator. But the way the game ended as well.
Yeah, it was great. Well, you got to talk about head coach Billy Bedeau, because whatever he said at halftime, well, maybe even in the second quarter, made a big difference. The defensive switch that Milton Keynes did at halftime, just seemed to hit Kestrel's, and they were struggling more and more. And with Spencer and Freckleton just on fire. Like and this is how the messages went to you. It was like, Kestrel's are up by 15, and then it was like, the momentum's going to shift. Milton Keynes are going to come back. Is it going to be a 20-odd point swing? I don't know about that. And then it was like, shall I find them? It was like, Breakers just tied the game in the third quarter. And it was like, Breakers now up by 6. Breakers now up by 10. Breakers up by 12 or something like that.
Oi, are you watching this? Oi, are you still watching this? Like, no.
And it was great because
Breakers now up by 4. Make that 6. Make that 9. Oi.
And it was just back and forth. But even though the Kestrels were losing by 6 points, 8 points, whatever it was in that fourth quarter,
who was the better team?
Well, I'd say it as a game of two halves. I thought the Kestrels were the better team in the first half, and I thought the Breakers were the better team in the second half. Yep. But you gotta say, even though Kestrels were losing, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the Kestrels fans were doing, but in my mind, I was watching this game going, when it was a 7-point game, I was like, it's like Kestrels were losing by 7 points. So I was like, tied game.
Yeah.
This is a tied game. They're playing for the league. And then they went up by 1, and you're like, wow, they're up by... Sorry, when they went up by 8, you were like, they're up by 1. Anyway, the end result of this was with 30 seconds left on the clock, or maybe less than that. I think it was about... No, it wasn't. It was about 20 seconds left on the clock. Kestrels hit a shot and went up and were losing by 6, which meant they would have carried on winning the league if it stayed like that.
Yes.
And who was it? It might have been Jordan Spencer, actually. Went down the other end with 8 seconds left, near the right-hand side of the free throw line. Boom! Went up by 8. That meant Milton Keynes are then going to win the league by 1 point difference, if you know what I mean, by points for and against.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who it was.
And Kestrels had a chance right at the end. I don't know what their big guy's called. Is it Joe Lloyd?
Ooh, you got me.
I don't know who their Kestrel's big guy is, but he had a chance, like literally a buzzer beater, and it banked off the backboard. He got the rebound, and I gotta say, he should have gone up. He bounced it. He did one bounce and then went up, from what I remember. But he got the ball, he bounced it, went up, and literally you got to hand it to the referees. The ball was still in his hand when the red light went on.
Oh yeah, 100%.
When the buzzer went, it went in, and he kind of turns around like, yes, no. He sees the refs, bam, goes down. What a game. What an exciting game, especially because it was like first v second, whoever won. And it was 7 points in the first game, and Breakers won by 8 points. I mean, it couldn't be closer than that. It was one of the most entertaining games.
96 to 104. And when you're looking at that, you think, oh right, that's like an 8-point loss. You go, yeah, but they were up 7, so it is the 1 point victory. But I don't know whether they just, I don't know.
Well, there's something that went right past me that I've completely missed on this, which was Matt Guyman was back as head coach. Yeah, and I missed that call because
yeah, I was surprised at that.
Well, I don't know when he came back. Because Jack O'Keefe was head coach.
Yes.
And I don't know at what point Matt Guyman's come back.
Maybe he's poorly.
I don't know. No, I don't know. My understanding was he was just having a break, but he came back. He seemed to be pretty passionate about it.
No, I mean the other coach.
No, he was there.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was there. But yeah, I'm just curious why Matt came back, what's going on there. But hey, you got to say what a fantastic game of basketball. And I sent our congratulations to Pete after the game, chairman of the Milton Keynes Breakers, and he was, as you can imagine, in extreme high spirits. He was very pleased. But, you know, that is a game for the ages. That is, people are going to be talking about that 10 years from now, going, we won the league by 1 point. And the Milton Keynes Breakers now go on to face the Teesside Lions.
Oh, is that who it is next?
Who's up in the north in the playoffs. So I think Milton Keynes now get promoted to Div 1. So they're now a Div 1 team. They won the BBL trophy. Yeah. And that makes sense. Look, they're beating teams in the BBL. Sorry, in the NBL Div 1. So it makes sense. It makes sense that they go there.
Of course it does, yeah.
But
that last play, I'm not gonna butcher it because he's gonna relive this for a little while. My only question.
Oh, you've got it on. Oh, so there's 7.5 seconds left.
Yeah. So
Elliot Dadds gets the ball. He's looking, pass it into the big man.
Yeah. So he gets the ball here. But look how many seconds we've got left. You've got 7.4 seconds left here. Stalls it quite a lot. So he's just going for that one shot. But you're down 8 points.
Yeah, but they weren't thinking of winning the game at this point. But look, press play. Press play. Look at what Elliot Dadds does there. He gets rid of that defender away from the big man. And what defending? No, I mean, the big man gets his own rebound and he puts it up and it goes in. He just ran out of time.
Just ran out of time. And also say good defence from Milton Breakers.
You got to say what amazing defence by the Milton Breakers. And look, I got to talk about that. What support by Milton Breakers. That's from Milton Keynes. They've travelled what? How far is Milton Keynes? An hour and a half, 2 hours?
Yeah, a couple of hours.
For NBL Div 2 standard.
Yeah.
And there must be what? 100 of them there? That was so loud. So loud. That was,
you could argue you couldn't really hear the Kestrels crowd over the
Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't know. Well,
you could. Both sets were noisy, I thought.
Yeah, but there was probably, it was 1/3 to 2/3 in terms of people. But that's what I'm saying. The people who came made the noise.
But you normally get that anywhere.
Yeah,
the away fans are always the louder. But I know the Kestrels call it the Kestrels family is how they say. But look, they turned up, they represented, and you got to be gutted. They lose the league, not on points like for the league for wins, but on like aggregate, like a number of points.
Aggregate on 1 point.
1 point difference.
And that was taken on your home court.
I said to you 2 months ago, this is going to be a great game because no one was beating them. No one was going to beat either of those teams.
I mean, you've said as well. Look, they're both of them are Division 1 teams anyway.
Yeah, I think they do right. I mean, don't forget Kestrels were a Div 1 team and they pulled out of Div 1 to go into Div 2. I don't know why. I don't know if it was funding for travelling or whatever, but
yeah.
So
we're not surprised they're up the top.
No. Like we said at the start, I said to you at the start of the season, they're going to be up there. We when you got the people like Brandon and Dads, and then when we saw that friendly, you had the big man, you had that Garapi kid, Hughes. They just had lots of guns that they could call upon. And I remember we said in that game, these guys are going to do well this season. They'll do well. They'll be up there.
Yeah.
Wow. But what a game! What a game! What support from Kestrels? What support for the Milton Keynes Breakers? I just think it was an all-round great moment for basketball.
So that's what I was going to say. If I was Basketball England, I'd be trying to promote their absolute butt off for that game.
I think the fan base for basketball is growing. Look what happened. The Portsmouth Force had the last game of the season. Look, we're in bloody National League Div 3.
Yeah.
And it's 3rd v 4th in the league.
Yeah.
We got 450 people at a home game watching it.
Yep.
And, you know, the crowds are starting to come. You got NBL, Div 2, Kestrels, 1st v 2nd. I don't know what their attendance is, but I'd imagine that would be, I mean, it was sold out, but I reckon that's what, 500, I guess? 500? 550 maybe?
Maybe, yeah. The capacity there isn't much more than Ravelin. And Ravelin was like at capacity.
But, you know, I think, you know what, I couldn't help think of something that, I think we talked about this with Colin Irish off the air, and we said, I remember I said to him, I said, what about if you took Portsmouth and you took the Solent Kestrels and you created the Solent Smugglers or the Solent Pirates or something like that, and you position the team bang in the middle of Portsmouth Southampton? Yeah?
Yep.
Well, you've got 1,000 fans every home game straight away, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's interesting. Or I think you said to him at that point, oh, you should call it Solent City.
Yeah. Well, there was a funding thing many years ago called Solent City, and it joined Southampton and Portsmouth. And because of that Solent City basically made things, made them together, and the populace was the second largest or third largest, most population dense.
Yeah, I think you said that Solent City is Portsmouth, Southampton combined and all that.
Because where Portsmouth is, it sort of flows from, say, Havant into Portsmouth, into Fareham, and you've got Portchester, then Fareham, then Whiteley, then Southampton, Eastleigh, and it's sort of like one long, lots of little towns all dotted through, but it becomes just one big long arc. So they did a whole funding thing and recognised it as a city as a whole, because there are cities around the world that are shorter than that 20-mile radius.
It would never happen. That's what we were saying. It would never happen. But it's a funny little thing to think, could you have the Solent Smugglers and stick them in the middle between Southampton and Portsmouth? And that's one of the moments where Portsmouth and Southampton come together for like a National League setup. Right, anyway, you got to say a big shout out to Portsmouth Force with a huge win to end their season.
Oh yeah,
huge crowd. What did I say? 450. It was about. If you live in the Portsmouth area and you're not coming to see Portsmouth Force games, you are missing out. I'm telling you now.
Yeah, it's a great atmosphere.
Well, I'm not going to say who, but an ex-BBL legend said to me the other day that the Portsmouth Force is getting a reputation for being the best game day atmosphere outside of the BBL.
Wow. And possibly maybe inside. But who knows?
Yeah, I'd say that's possible. Yeah,
well, we're up there,
and you have to come down to hear it.
Yeah, 100%. You've got to come down and see this. And you know what? I mean, some of those, the crowd the week before last, just the noise as we're sort of winding down in the game, and they're just hitting into shots, just ridiculous. When you got 450 people there. And everyone is screaming. I mean, you've got some away fans, but at that point, it's like, can't hear.
Yeah, it's good. Look, basketball is getting big again on the South Coast. And you've got to say, the Kestrels had a similar thing on Saturday. It's great to see. You know, when Portsmouth plays Southampton, Solent, I always say Southampton, I want Portsmouth to win, but I want Solent to do well. I want them to do well. The best thing for me is they play each other in Div 1 for the league. That would be perfect for me.
Oh yeah, that'd be amazing.
But yeah, look, basketball's getting big again on the South Coast.
What does it all come down to? It always comes down to the one thing. We talked about it with Paul Blake. It's venue.
Yeah.
It's all about the venues. You go if you think the venues that we're talking about in the BBL, now take one of those venues and compare it to a college venue that they play in America. Like it's not even comparison. Their college venues are like 15,000 people that they're hosting. And they're gigantic. And that's just college, not an NBA stadium, just a college one. So at their, their college, their universities, they have this sort of size stadiums. In the UK, we don't have that. We don't have that sort of thing.
But
they do have in some other countries. And in some places, we've seen it on, you always see the videos going around with, like, especially the Euro Leagues, where they're like setting off the fireworks and stuff. Everyone's seen them. And it's sold, what's his name? It's like Joker, isn't it? When they're like, hey, what do you think of the crowd in Miami? He's like, man, I played in Serbia. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, go there. Like, they're setting off fireworks in the crowd. And
yeah, and you saying, you suck. That's doing nothing to him.
They don't care. And they've got all the fans there. It's not like, oh, let's have a nice day out. Let's just take the kids and enjoy it, and it's relaxing. They've got like 10,000 fans there who are, it's frenzied. So those sort of things, somehow we have to find a way to mimic that in the UK if we're going to have it to grow. Yes, you got the Copper Box. Yes, you got Virtu. Yes, you've got Caledonia's Play Sport while they're building the other one. You've got Cannon.
We just need to work out where we're going to build it, Mark.
Where have we got them in the south? That's the question. Bristol, they don't have one. Surrey,
we need to work it out. That's where we need Solent City.
Solent City. Or Worthing.
You know what? I was going to finish the whole Kestrel Breakers game with 1 point. Obviously, congratulations to the Milton Keynes Breakers. They won Div 2, won the BBL trophy. They promoted to Div 1. What a season they got. But I've got to say, I think Elliot Dads, Isa Brandon, some of those Kestrel's players, I think they would look better in blue. That's all I'm going to say. I think they would look better in blue.
Yeah, they would.
I don't think they'd want to wear blue, but
well, why not?
No,
why not?
Once you play Kestrels, you don't swap red for blue. Anyway, right. Well, we talked for like 20 minutes about that. That was good.
Yeah, like you said, it was a good game, and it's nice that it was down here. But at the same time, like you said, shout out to the Sonar for their work, and it went out onto YouTube. And I am also going to raise one thing that was to credit to them, was that it's very clear how to watch the game. And I have still found it very difficult knowing if a game is on for the British Basketball League, which one's it on? Is it on the BBC tonight, or is it on Sky tonight, or are you broadcasting it on YouTube? Just having a timetable, if they could put out just saying which ones each are on for the whole year, probably be a lot easier. Just something, just like really simple. Sometimes people go, oh, really? Can't you just go look it up? Well, if you just give that to me, like your brother always, every single year, whether he's in Orlando or not, will try and get one of those fridge magnet things that has every single Orlando Magic game, and he sticks it on his fridge, doesn't he? Like, he could go get that. I know he's not going to...
We had the cards, didn't we?
Yeah, exactly. No, we had and we did the cards.
That's going to be copied.
Of course it's going to be copied. But we did that to hand out to the fans, and I saw so many people all through the season putting their and you could see people coming out of the game, and they're going, oh, when's the next one? And you could see someone going...
Looking at the cards.
Yeah, they're looking at the cards.
I did have one criticism of the Solar thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not being harsh. Towards, I think it was half-time, commentating wise, they didn't know how many points the score was. So they were saying, is it, I think they were saying, is it 7? Is it 8? They weren't sure. And it was like,
yeah,
you should know that before you go into starting the commentating for that game. You should know all these points, what's at stake. But
I think there's a little bit of a crossover.
I'm being really picky there. Come on, it was
well, great. No, but you do raise a good point here, which is when someone is doing commentating, if it's not a sport that they know and they follow, it is very, very easy to expose yourself. Because if you're, we've seen it, and I thought they did a good job. There was a few areas you go, okay, you've missed a few bits here and there. Maybe basketball isn't your sport, but their quality of commentary, I couldn't fault that. But
you're right.
But Like when we saw, and everyone will remember in the UK when Michael Jordan came back and played his first game as a Wizard. We were watching around your house actually, and we'd stayed up. We were watching that.
He bricked the first 2 shots.
No, it was the air ball. I called it and said he was going to do an air ball, first shot, and it was like, oh geez. But they called in a lady called Claire Balding. For those who don't know, she does the Channel 4 racing, and that's her sport. That's what she does. But they were like, well, you're the commentator. You're available, so get on you get.
That was a bit embarrassing, wasn't it?
She got thrown. I feel so sorry for her because she is in her sport and what she does. She knows all about that.
It's like, oh, I believe that is a 3-pointer, what does that mean?
Yeah.
They got 3 points. But yeah.
And you just think, come on, you can do better than that. But they obviously just dropped the ball and went, oh yeah, that's fine. Someone just thought we just need a commentator. And in some sports, that might be true. But in other sports, it's very, very clear.
I am well up for doing commentating.
You are?
I'm well up for that.
Really?
Yeah. I'm putting that out there deliberately. Let me sort my teeth out because bloody Portsmouth Jam knocked them out. Let me sort my teeth out and I can talk a bit better in a week or two.
What commentating would you like to do?
Basketball, obviously.
Of what?
What?
What level? What sort of commentary?
Any level.
So if someone said, we would like you to do the commentary translation, you got to read out the translation of the commentary.
In Spanish.
From the Spanish, or the Turkish league as well. Because Turkey's huge in basketball, isn't it? They're massive for that.
Right, come on, let's crack on with the BBL, Mark.
Wow, you're saying like I'm waiting around. Anyway, BBL time. So week 23 this week.
I think you should put as much energy into this news of the BBL as the players did for the All-Star game.
The first game was Giants versus Scorchers.
Come on, let's fly through this.
Right, we'll do it quick. It was an okay week. Most of the games I thought, I know who's going to win, and they did. There was a couple of surprises. So first game, Giants versus Scorchers. Scorchers took the win. It was in Manchester. I actually watched this one because I've been ill this week, so I haven't watched all of them. I've watched the highlights, obviously, but
you're a disgrace.
I'm a disgrace. Really? Let's test your knowledge in a minute. But what I want to say was Jameson inside for the Scorchers, absolutely superb.
Jamal.
Do you know what? I haven't written down any first names, but what I was surprised.
You're a disgrace.
I am a disgrace. But what I was surprised at is that although there was a brilliant, Lou's got a great rundown block on the Giants in one of their plays, and you think, oh, that's not too bad. This is it's sort of an end-to-end game. That's the best way I can describe it. However, I'm singling one person out, and you'll know why now, for the crime. Pt1.
What legend.
Great player. He's been really good all season.
What did he do?
Fourth quarter. It's a game that's going between 8 points and 10 points, and it's flicking between the end to end. Got a free throw opportunity.
Brilliant.
Missed.
Wow.
They grabbed the ball, pegged it down the other end, got the 2.
Just for our international listeners, pegged means ran very quickly.
Ran very quickly. However, he did redeem himself with a successful free throw, but that was with 20 seconds left. And
so what is your gripe on Pt1?
Don't miss a free throw.
Oh, you don't like a missing free throw? Okay.
Well, no, but if you're in the fourth quarter and the game is that end to end, that you go, and you missed that, didn't get the rebound, they grabbed it, ran down the other end and scored literally immediately, go, that should have been 1 up. Instead, now you're two
What we need
closer.
To do, you need to go for a 3-mile run.
Why?
Or 5-mile run. Then go and do some weights. Then do some weightlifting.
Do you lift, bro?
Then go for a 20-minute swim.
Yeah.
And then put your kit on. And I go, Mark, you got 1 free throw. You have to hit it.
Mate, I could be fresh as a daisy. I'd still miss a free throw.
All right.
You could put me on
you
the
half
ladder
the distance then.
Next to me with the free throw and I'd miss. I'm not a professional basketball player, though. This guy is. Just saying. That was a pressure shot and you missed it.
But I'm supporting the players on this.
No,
players miss free throws.
Yeah, they do. But some of the, at the moment, terrible. Anyway, goes on to what I would say is my favourite game for the week. And that was the Leicester Caledonia one. Now, a few things to note here. Leicester were missing Teddy Allen and Jerome Holmes. So that's two of their biggest players.
Was he injured from the All-Star game?
Wow, I don't know. They were just missing. So there we go. But highlight from that, without question, is the coach getting binned off.
You got, and this is where the is it the BBL or Sky Sports that we're going to have a gripe here with?
Sky Sports.
Because you've got a great incident where a coach is just about to be ejected and it's like advert. You go, and then it comes back and he's like, I've been chucked to the game. And again, we're all thinking like the coach, for what?
Yeah. Because he just points out and he's saying something, oh, yeah, but you, and I'm guessing he's saying something like, well, you would have seen that or something like that. And so then the ref just points to him, bang, you got a T. And then he's going, for what? Tell me what I did wrong.
Yeah,
they're not giving it.
For what?
Then it cuts. Right at that point, you think, are you serious?
Yeah.
And then a 2-minute advert. And then when it comes back, he sat down and he's going.
And the guy's going, you got to leave.
And he's going, you got to leave. And you go, well, I didn't see him get the second technical.
The best bit about that was when he kind of came on the court and went, Dave!
Yeah, and he's shouting, come on, Dave. It's like, well, obviously, Dave the ref.
Dave's looking the other way. Hey, look.
And they're all saying,
I'm not a fan of refs at the moment.
Rob's not normally that fired up. He's normally quite a placid guy. Going, well, Rob chose anger that day.
Well, I think it's best I do not talk about referees.
Yeah, or getting binned off particularly.
Look, can I just make a point? When I got 4 of my teeth knocked out, he called a foul on me.
It was defensive foul. Just saying.
How can you have teeth knocked out and have a foul called on you when someone hits you in the face?
Rumour has it you were going for a Mike Tyson.
God. I've got issue with referees. Those referees for that incident were snowflakes there.
Yeah,
and when he was like, Dave, and he was like, no.
They were walking off and
it's
they were
like,
just pretending
you
didn't
can
exist.
you leave? It's like, look, go back to the bloody 90s when, you said, come on, Dave, what are you doing? He goes, I had to call that. Oh, and they just went, oh, whatever. Bam, get on with it. Now it's like, no, you looked at me aggressively, so you got a technical foul.
Well, I'm just going to say that
was my ref voice.
It really was a good game. It really, really was a good game. Clifton Moore Jr., amazing alley-oop in the first half. It was just one of those, he looked round the back door, saw it, went through. No one was tracking him at all. Lob went up and he took it. TJ Law with a brilliant block against Johnson in the first quarter for Leicester. I would say Shelton was someone who I hadn't really picked up on at all for Leicester. Great player, great block that he put up there. But Clifton Moore Jr., giant poster against Shelton. Like literally balls there. He's just like, thank you very much. The start of Q4, it was 73-85. And by the end of that game, it was like, done, over. I mean, if you think, as I said, 73-85, and when you go to the end of the game,
done.
115-90. Caledonia just went, foot down, thanks very much. They just accelerated. And they've only got like 17 points in the quarter. So it was a really, really good game. But yeah, I've got to say there was some really, really good blocking, really good defence. Those two teams were absolutely going at it.
And Caledonia still trying to get to that second spot. They're only one win away.
But Cheshire's got two
games
in hand.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. See, whereas Leicester and Caledonia, 3rd and 5th, when you look and go, it's not too far apart. They're two sort of points apart or 2 wins apart, but actually Caledonia still have a game in hand. So the stronger team did win in that occasion, but it is like genuinely a great game to watch. Mackenzie, you like Kimball Mackenzie, don't you?
He's a legend.
Just the way he moves, and he's one of those players who's, when they always want to drive, you get the ball and you think he's driving. He's doing something with it. He's
the modern Mark Jackson.
You know that he wants to move. It's movement. It's all movement with him. So yeah, total shout out to him. That's a good game. Go watch it.
I want to know when the referee called that foul on me. At what point did he call a foul on me? When I'm on the floor with blood everywhere, is that Foul.
No, my gut from when I asked your brother and he said that was the move, I bet any money the second that he saw you were going to challenge that guy, he's like, I'm calling.
I'm calling foul.
Yeah.
It was like, this is a Lithuanian. You're not allowed to touch him. Well, they can beat you up and it's fine.
He's like, he went with the odds, as in it's more likely going to be a defensive foul than an offensive foul.
He's like, hang on.
I'm calling something.
Don't take him to hospital yet. Let me just call this foul on him. Number 10.
Listen, you start biting people, mate. That's on you. Right. Then we move on to the next game. Eagles versus Scorchers. Now, as everyone who's listening well know,
I love a bit of Scorcher.
The lovely Keith.
Sorry, is this in the Eagles' nest?
Eagles versus Scorchers in the Eagles' nest.
Oh.
Now, as we know, the lovely Keith gets to go to these games. And he sent me a message afterwards like...
He didn't like it last week, did he? He wasn't happy with that. What was it, 40-point loss?
Not quite, but it was nasty. The actual... What was the last one? It was 10-point loss to the Sheffield Sharks. Yeah?
That's their bogey team, isn't it?
That is relevant for this week. So, he obviously sent me a message going, this is more like it this week because...
I love the Scorchers logo.
125
really like
to 84. That's a 41-point victory. Right? But this is the bit that you're going to like.
Scorchers didn't lose, Mark. They ran out of time. Fact. Scorchers did not lose that game.
It was a 10-point game.
The bloody ref turned around and went...
10-point
one
game.
More time.
First to third, it was a 10-point game. All the way through the first 3 quarters, 10-point game. And you go, that's kind of surprising. I'm not sure what's going on here. Keith just said, watch the 4th quarter. I was like, all right, okay. So I went through, scanned it. It's about a 10-point game. Started watching the 4th quarter. And it's just like they just went, okay.
Went into another gear.
But not just good. They held Surrey to 15 points. Surrey just got 15 points in the 4th quarter. So in the 4th quarter, this is it. Both teams started. Newcastle started with 84.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So they literally scored 41 points.
And Surrey started with 69. Surrey got 15 points.
That's like a 60-point quarter. Bloody hell.
No.
For both teams.
So 41 points.
Yeah, and then, what do you say, 69?
15. So
15.
Yeah, so 56.
Yeah, so almost 60-point quarter. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, because
it's a huge. Basically, it was ridiculous. It was, that's what Newcastle started the quarter on. That's what they ended it on. Almost, it's ridiculous. But when you think, I just kept watching it, thinking, blimey, Newcastle are holding Surrey off. But if you say 15 points in the Q4, it's not great, but it's not the worst Q4, is it? 15 points. You make 20, 21 maybe.
I've seen a 5 once.
You can get low ones. That's what I mean. 15 is not bad.
I have got a topic for you. I've seen 0.
Yeah.
And look, we'll come back onto this in a minute.
Let's come back to it.
We'll come back to this in a minute.
Right.
Ask me about the 0 game.
So anyway, that was a complete butt kicking. Eagles took that win at home. Very important. At home. So, next game was Cheshire versus Bristol. I've got to be honest, it was so ugly a game. I actually did fall asleep partway through it and I had to go back and watch it.
You were unwell though. You did have a chest infection, so we'll let you off.
No, it was that boring.
I gave you the out there.
No, I'm not taking it.
But you were ill.
I was ill. Here's basically the scenario. This is what I wrote. 10-point game first quarter. 20-point game second quarter. By the third quarter, it's 26-point. It kept going up and down. Bristol were never going to get into that game. And right towards the end of it, you thought, oh, okay, 96-73. Cheshire weren't even really trying towards the end of that.
Really?
Yeah. It was a bit of an ugly game. But there is one very familiar thing about all the games this week, which you'll like. So, anyway, moving on to the next game. Next game was the rematch. Sheffield Sharks versus the Eagles. Now, this time...
This is the last one, isn't it?
Yeah, well, so you thought the last time that they played...
This is the 4th one, right?
Yes. The Eagles versus the Sharks was in the Virtu Arena, and the Sharks took the win. So, of course,
Oh, back in the Shark Tank.
In the Shark Tank. And so the Newcastle people were thinking, okay, we're going to go take the win at their home court. That did not go to plan.
Negative.
Keith, negative. So
hey, on what kit were the Sharks wearing? Was it the grey kit?
Ooh.
You know what? I don't know why I've not ever thought this, but they wear a grey kit because the Shark's grey.
Oh my Lord. Have you really just only thought
That's the first time that's clicked.
Shark skin.
Yeah.
Honestly, what you come out with.
Doesn't make sense. It's the colour of a shark.
If you watch...
I don't know why I've never thought of that before.
Watch the first...
I like the grey kit.
That game, Sharks versus Eagles, watch the first quarter. It's the perfect example of how a team gets... One team gets a terrible start. One team gets an amazing start. Eagles were straight out. They were like 18... It was like 18 points to 4 or something. After, I don't know, 4 minutes or something. You think, all right, they've just put their foot down. That's it. By the end of Q1, it was, I think, 22-22.
Wow.
Yeah, literally just Sheffield went, hang on. And then they just took all of the points. And it were missed opportunities. There was bricks thrown up. Loads of sloppy passes. Loads of steals. Q2, it was pretty much end to end. Score one. Maybe someone hit a 3, someone hit a 2.
After that score one, was it another score one?
It wasn't.
And after that, was it a score one, miss one, score one?
There was a couple of misses, then score ones. It was, that's how it was. But you look at it with the coach. Whatever the coach said in Q3, when the Sharks came out Q3, they were the ones who put the hammer down. And this time they just extended the lead. Literally, Newcastle just had nothing to answer. And Newcastle was a strong team. And I'm being harsh, but compared to the Sharks, Newcastle have got a much stronger and much deeper team. And that was and you think they'd already come off of 125-84. They only lost by 10 that last game, and the last game was at home. Then they go away.
But you got to consider, so they both played each other on the 15th. When was that?
Well, 10 days ago.
Okay, so that's when the first game happened.
Yeah.
The Sharks then had 9 days off.
Yeah.
And
Sheffield had.
Newcastle played 2 days before they had to go to Sheffield. So you got to say,
yeah.
But even though that was a huge 125-point win,
are you saying that they? But 125.
Just saying they played 2 days before, whereas Sheffield had 9 days off.
Professional player, suck it up.
No, I'm just saying that's got to have effect.
Oh, I bet
it's
does.
One of those things, like in the NBA, we always talk about, would you rather be rested or would you rather have those game 7s so you're there ready to roll?
But if you're playing someone here who, when they're sitting in the league, you're going, Sheffield Sharks are sitting here 6th. They're not actually that far behind us in 4th. When you're looking at the points here, they got, 16 wins. Sorry, 15 wins.
Oh, that is close. It's 1 win away. Yeah. That game was huge. I didn't realise that. Wow.
Yeah. Whereas if Newcastle...
Sharks are one win away from the Eagles.
Eagles and the Riders and suddenly banging straight in there. Yes. This is my whole point. Them losing both those games to the Sharks massively helped the Sharks come straight up the ladder, which helped them for the playoff position. However, it really dented the Eagles, because if they'd have won both of those, bing, bing, we're up with Caledonia now. So the Sharks have properly been a bogey team for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Twice they've absolutely scuppered any plans they've got about moving up the table.
Shark Tank.
I tell you what, I said to Keith, he said, we've got, after that 125, we've got to do well. I said, mate, you're going to suck and you're going to bomb it out. He said, no, you're going to put a hex on it. Don't say that. And then I just sent him a picture of a smiley face after the score.
Wow.
You're welcome, Keith.
Those folks in Sheffield, they'd have been like, ear, took Shark Tank.
I apologise, Sheffield, profusely.
Ear, took pub to the Shark Tank.
Go up, took pub.
Go up, took pub.
Go up, took pub.
For our international listeners, Sheffield has a distinct dialect, and rather than say hello, they go "eop," and rather than say let's go to the pub, they go tut pub, don't they? Is it tut pub?
Go up, tut pub.
Go tut pub.
Go tut pub. Right, final game of this.
They talk in syllables.
They do. Final game of the week was Patriots versus the Riders, and this was in
the Riders of Leicester.
The Riders of Leicester.
They have got a mascot who's a horse. I saw this on one of the games the other day.
Okay.
Which kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Because of course Leicester Riders.
You haven't. I know this affected your teeth, which is on your head technically, but you haven't had any brain injuries.
I don't know why it's so funny.
What a horse mascot.
But we
see, all I think of
we'd
is
not seen it, and I saw it the other day.
See, you're saying a horse mascot, and all I can think of in my head.
Oh, the program.
Yeah, it is BoJack Horseman. Like, is that their mascot? Like some guy who just comes out dressed like that?
No, it's a little bit, but it's like a white horse.
Well, that makes sense because it's a white horse on their logo.
Yeah, the Riders
of
Leicester.
Someone who is called a shark dresses in a shark-coloured outfit.
The Riders of Leicester. I would have, yeah.
So
I wonder if they put Lord of the Rings music on.
What, for like Riders of Rohan?
Yeah, that's my whole Riders of Leicester. That's what I was referencing, Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I know. I thought you meant the new film coming out. That's all.
What new film?
Look at your little face there.
What new film?
Oh, I know something you don't know.
What?
Right. Plymouth City Patriots versus
No, you can't say that.
Yeah,
what film are we talking about? A Leicester Riders film or Lord of the Rings film?
Isn't there a new Lord of the Rings film coming out?
Straight on my phone.
So, I will tell you about the game, everyone, as Ball's completely now switched off. This game, again, a bit like the previous Sharks and Eagles. The first few quarters, it was end to end. It was a good game to watch, and you would not have thought the Patriots and the Riders would have been as equally matched. But the Riders were really struggling for getting any traction. They're missing the players, Jerome and Teddy, but the Patriots were just really coming out fighting. And I think that is down to, Paul said it before, when we were speaking with Pat Wrights as well, the Plymouth, it's the pavilions, isn't it, in Plymouth? It's such an arena, and it clearly makes such a massive sort of impact. Literally had to swear off air there to get his attention. He is totally engrossed now, the fact that there is another film coming out. I told you. It's all about the Riders of Rohan, and the whole idea is that it's going to talk about that Battle of Helm's Deep, I believe. It's going to focus on that and why that Thor of hammer or whatever, the sword or something is irrelevant. Oh, look at you. Look how excited you are.
It's animation, though.
Oh, it's not what?
It's not like a proper film. It's animation, but it's still good.
Okay, have you watched any Disney animated film in the last 20 years?
No. Maybe. Yeah, no, I don't. If they do it well, it'll be all right.
If you've watched anything from Marvel, it's animated, done.
On the fifth day, look to the east.
You like Rocket? The Trash Panda?
To the king.
There you go, Rocket the Trash Panda. He's animated.
They should do that. They should have maybe not.
What, Rocket and the Guardians of the Galaxy suddenly flying?
Hey, they should have Kimball Mackenzie in the new Lord of the Rings film.
Right, let's get back to this.
Yes.
I was saying Plymouth City Patriots. Because they've got the pavilions at the moment, it's a brilliant arena. It does have a certain energy about it. And I think part of that was what I've thrown them. Leicester have had a big journey to go down there. They're missing some of their key players, and they were quite ruffled. So it was quite close, which got to the point, you thought it was like a 10-point sort of game. 92-92 is how the game finished.
Oh, this is the one that had loads of overtime.
Yeah. So then it had to go to overtime. And you're like, okay, well, I didn't expect. No one would have called that.
They were both well up for that.
Yeah, but if you look at it, where's Plymouth? They've had 5 wins the whole season.
Don't matter.
Yeah.
You got Pat Wrights cheering you on. It don't matter.
Leicester Riders are 5th in the league, basically sniffing up behind, arguably not only the Eagles but potentially getting towards Caledonia. And you think, you just wouldn't separate. But when you're missing these key players and you're playing an away game, you've had long travel, all of that adds up. Plymouth haven't played in major games. Maybe that made a difference. So that went through to overtime. At the end of that overtime, so first overtime ended 100-100, draw. So they went to a second overtime. And that literally ended 121 to 110 for the second overtime. And that was purely the likes of Kimball McKenzie.
He looked well up for it.
I'm not leaving here without the win. He did not want to leave it without the win.
Was it Plymouth near the start of the season where he shot for the win and missed?
Yes. I think it was.
Was it that? So maybe
it was. Maybe it was just I mean, look, we've seen Sheffield are clearly a bogey team for the Newcastle. Maybe Plymouth are a bogey team for Leicester. I don't know. But whatever it was, it was the majority of the game was okay, but it was just very balanced. That's all I can say. There wasn't any exciting highlights or anything, but the video is still better in the pavilion than it is in some of the other things, particularly Cheshire and Bristol.
I love the Plymouth home court.
Yeah,
I think it's one of the best ones. I think
it's tragedy that they're losing it, but Cheshire versus Bristol. I mean, I actually in my note I put ugly game, and the reason was ugly game wasn't just that I thought, okay, it's gone one way and it's never going to come back. The way it looks in the sports hall, the viewing, it's just a bit like
in Cheshire.
In Cheshire, because theirs is very similar to Bristol's, where it is like a sports hall basically that they're playing at. They haven't got a decent big facilities. You know, these are the trophy winners. You can't sniff at that. They are the trophy winners. They've got a solid team now. They're playing well, and it's a sports hall. But when you look at it in particular, it's arguably Cheshire, Bristol, and the Scorchers are probably the three teams who have the sports hall kind of set up. I would argue actually that the Scorchers probably have the nicer looking of all of those, because they have that one big wall with about 1,000 odd people there, and then they've painted everything so it doesn't.
TV as well on the other
side.
But
they've painted everything so it doesn't look like a big white dead space that you're looking at, whereas a lot of the other ones do. And I think that really it does. On the TV, it looks shocking.
I've got to say, one thing I did see at Plymouth, which was a highlight of this season for me, Pat Riots, the new Pat Riots, doing some breakdancing.
He did, yeah.
The best bit, he was doing this breakdancing. There's one bit where he's on his hand, like literally upside down on his hand. Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. That is the end of this part. But do not worry, because coming soon is the second part of this episode, and it will be available soon.